Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
I have some OC. It's nothing exciting because I don't have the time or patience to make something up. So true stories only, which are typically less exciting by default. Be me at work about 2 months ago. Done for the day, closing up for the night. Me and 2 co-workers in the office gathering our things. Office has 2 doors to it. One that exits to the front part of the building, one that exits to the back. Managers making rounds on the floor to make sure everything's locked up. We hear footsteps come all the way down the stairs. Assume manager went upstairs to the employee bathrooms to shit. Manager walks in the front door 2 minutes later. Exit to stairs is in the back.
Manager, where the fuck did you come from?
Just did my walk around outside to make sure all the doors were locked. We're good to go.
So you didn't just go and take a shit?
What? No.
Go upstairs with one coworker. Door to one of the rooms is slightly cracked. WTF. JPEG. Manager should have locked all these. Walk up to door. Door closes on its own. Nope the fuck out of there. I have more from this place, but I'm not sure if anyone's interested. Alright, should also mention that I work at a museum, and that's why the layout of the building is so weird. And why shit's possibly haunted. Be assistant manager. Come in early every day to turn everything on. Only person in the entire building. Going in room by room to turn on lights and stuff. Go into one room. A bulb way up in the middle of an exhibit is out. Take out phone to take pic to send to repair guy because he's the only one who knows how to take this shit apart without breaking it in order to fix a light bulb. Don't realize phone is on video mode. Take a 5-second video before realizing. Switch back to camera, take pic. Later, review video. Very clear whisper of a voice comes through saying, "Get out." Literally no one else in the building. WTF. Be me. Later that day. Come into work. Assistant manager hands me his phone, tells me to play the video, doesn't tell me what it is, just says to listen. Very clearly hear the whisper, "Get out," without him telling me about it. Assistant manager shows 3 other people without telling them what's on the video first. All 3 people all hear the same thing. We're not just imagining it. What the fuck? I never liked being in that room for too long, and that shit was spooky.
Absolutely. Can you tell us what items are in the room where you hear the voices?
Serial killer stuff. I signed an NDA though, so I can't really go too deep into detail about where I work or what's there, lest someone snuff me out and rat that I'm telling stories that 100% violate my NDA, because these stories absolutely do that. Be me, in the halls. Dead silent in the museum. No one around, guests in different parts of the building. Hear a loud growl come from the basement area. Look around. No one to validate what I heard. Think I'm just tired, ignore it. A few minutes later. Group of guests coming up the hall. Hear loud pissed. Look at guests. Guests look at me. I ask, "Is there something I can help you with?" At the same time they ask.
Yes? Did you need us?
We stare at each other.
You heard that right?
Yeah, I thought it was you.
I thought it was you.
No one else around. Guests are visibly spooked. Just walk past me down the hall, not saying anything. Assume they're fucking with me, ignore it. Not 30 seconds later, hear a scream. Guests coming running back down the hall at me. What happened? What's wrong? Guest says something just pulled her hair. Look accusingly at her group. Ask who's playing pranks. Other 2 people are seriously spooked. Insist no one did it. Make up some bullshit about how the air currents in the building are weird and sometimes people feel drafts or tugs at their clothes and it's normal. They seem to buy it. Go back to exploring museum. Still not sure what happened there. I am open to the idea that they were just fucking with me, but they seemed really freaked out. This one's a little bit more dramatic, but still true. B. Coworker. In a room with a World War II artifact. Suddenly lose time. No idea how long she's been in there. Semi comes to, realizes her face is just inches away from said artifact. Opens door to next room. Sees a group of people in there. Say, I need you guys to come in here right now. Clearly out of it, monotone. Guest rolls his eyes. Coworker snaps fully back into reality. Realizes what she's doing. Runs out of the room, down the stairs, and out of the building. Be me, on break, smoking a cig outside. Hear screaming and wailing on the level that I think someone's broken a leg or some shit. Coworker is being escorted by manager, hysterically crying. She sits down, repeating,
I don't know, I don't know, I don't know.
Manager just looks at me. He usually calls on me when something dramatic like this happens, because there are no female managers and I'm the unofficial team lead. I'm real close with manager, we've been through a lot of shit together, he can just look at me and I know what he wants. He seems apologetic because he knows I'm on break, but I take over. Coworker tells me the story. Says she has no idea what she was doing. Was so upset and freaked out because she lost time, like she had literally fallen out of time and space, and until she snapped back and ran out, she felt like she had no real control over her body. Like she was in her body looking out through her eyes at what was happening but she wasn't controlling the actual actions taking place.
It was wrong. It was wrong.
Comfort her and tell some jokes to make her laugh. Call security over to get her a bottle of water. Eventually she calms down. Make the executive decision that she should go home for the day and get some rest. Go back inside, tell manager the situation. He just shakes his head. Says coworker has been here even longer than he has, and no one's ever seen her like that. Okay, here's another dramatic one. Be me. Upstairs near the same World War II artifact. Hear loud crash come from that room. Burst in. 2 guests on the floor, man draped over the legs of the woman. He's unconscious. Look at her, ask what happened. Says she thinks her ankle is broken. Hear manager in my ear over the radio asking me if I need him to come up there. Summon him upstairs. Guest eventually comes to, but he's disoriented, unbalanced and confused. Manager tries to talk to him while I talk to the lady in order to keep her from vomiting from the pain. She says she's not sure what happened. They were just looking at the artifact and he fainted and landed on her. Manager has worked in all sorts of shady businesses before. Can tell when someone's fucked up with booze or drugs, but can't seem to place what's wrong with this guy. Head of security also now comes upstairs. Manager and security carry the lady down the stairs. Other guest, her husband, is just useless. Husband snaps back into reality as soon as they're out of the building. Insists he has no idea what happened, only remembers hitting the floor, and doesn't even remember coming outside with us. Visibly spooked, says he doesn't have any medical issues and they didn't drink or take anything before they came. He's clearly sober to my eyes, and manager agrees. Manager makes them sign a release. Husband takes wife to hospital. Wife emails the next day to thank us for our help and confirm that several bones in her foot are broken. Doctors found nothing wrong with husband either, not even dehydration. 2 months later, couple comes back, lady still in cast. Says that she needs to face whatever this is. Goes into room, comes back out.
It feels different in there today. Less angry.
No idea what the fuck that means.
I'll bite then. What's the artifact? If this object is carrying residual energy enough to make people ill, it would need to be made of the right material. Or like radium.
I can't tell you. Sorry bro. NDAs are a bitch. What I will tell you is that it's in an airtight case and has an extra protective wall around it, too. And I'm willing to bet it's not radioactive or anything like that. I have several more stories about it, though, if anyone's interested. Be me, maybe last month. Have to be acting manager at night because assistant manager is on morning shift, and actual manager is sick as a dog, though he still has to physically be on property for liability reasons. Taking care of him, trying to make sure he doesn't asphyxiate on his own vomit while also running the place on my own coworker asks for management on radio, says she's got a guest, acting strangely. Manager stumbles out of the office to handle it while I'm doing something else. He's fucking useless. Go up there. Guest is sitting on the bottom step. Ask coworker what happened. Says she saw guest come out of World War II room, come down the stairs, then start walking backwards back up the stairs. WTF. Guest is visibly twitching at random intervals. Sometimes her head, sometimes her arm, sometimes her hand. Manager tells me to ask the normal questions and stumbles back into the office while texting the owner of the museum to let him know what's happening. Ask if she has a history of seizures, if she's done any drugs before coming. Assure her we won't report her. Just want to make sure it's not an issue that requires immediate medical attention. She's non-responsive, but her boyfriend insists no to every question. Museum owner freaked out by this story, basically texting manager like, "Get her off the property, I don't want anyone dying where I can be liable." Manager tells me over the radio to get her outside and onto the sidewalk. She leans on her boyfriend as he helps her outside, twitching all the while. Twitching stops when they get outside, but she's still out of it. Goad them over to the sidewalk to get them off property. She finally speaks, says she's exhausted. Point them to a 7-Eleven down the road so she can get something to eat and drink. They walk off. No idea WTF that was. I have one more about this artifact, then others about other things.
Be coworker. In World War II room with a group of guests. Hear guests say, "Dad? Dad? What's wrong? Dad?" Go check on them. Dad is standing there drenched in sweat, unresponsive. "Sir? Sir, can you hear me?" No response. Still new at the job, don't know not to touch the guests. Tries shaking the guy. No response. Death rattle breathing. Guy collapses. Freak out. Have management call an ambulance.
Be me, coming into work. Almost late because traffic jam due to ambulance. Walk up to door. Coworker is out there sitting in a chair, shaking. What happened?
I really thought that man was going to die right in front of me.
WTF. Can't get any clearer answers out of him than that. Go inside. Talk to assistant manager about this. Tells me to sit in the office for a bit while he talks to the paramedics. Assistant manager comes back in. Says the paramedics found nothing physically wrong with him, and the dad and his daughter are coming back in to see the rest of the museum. Why would you come back inside? But okay. Asks me to go escort them back in. Man tells me he honestly thought he was having a heart attack. Daughter insists she's never seen anything like that happen to him. He's diabetic but has never had heart problems. They're cool people otherwise. Go debrief assistant manager. Tells me how the paramedics were just completely baffled, because he was sweating and breathing like someone with congestive heart failure. But once they got him outside on a stretcher and checked him out, he was completely and totally fine. Regular heartbeat, regular breathing, no signs of clog or congestion or anything, blood sugar normal, Never seen anything like that before, and that's not the kind of thing you can fake. One more about this particular artifact. For real this time, one more. I should also probably stress that my coworkers in these stories have all been different people, so it's not like we just have one hysterical person who witnesses all the crazy shit. It's all different. B coworker. Worked at this place for like 4 years, used to the shit that goes on. Alone in World War II room. See something out of corner of eye. Turn head. See a face right up on her. Pitch black, flaky skin like they've been burnt, red eyes, no mouth. Talks to her in a language she doesn't understand. Fall to the floor, screaming. Second coworker bursts into the room, sees what's happening. Be me, in office with manager. Hear over the radio coworker number 2 screaming.
Management, get to the World War II room right now. We need you right now.
With the screams of coworker number 1 in the background. Manager runs out of office so fast his radio flies off his belt. Stay in office to watch the security cams in his absence. Watch manager and coworker number 2 help coworker number 1 off the floor. Manager helps her outside, comes back in, says nothing, but looks at me in the way where I know what he wants. Head outside to check on coworker. She's crying hysterically, tells me what happened, freaked out because it was talking but had no mouth. How could it talk with no mouth? What did it want? Send her home for the day. Come back in to talk to manager, tell him, ask him what he thinks. He just shrugs because he's an atheist and go.
I'm sure it was real to her. She'll be back tomorrow.
Assistant manager does some digging. Finds previous owner of the artifact. Asks if he ever experienced anything weird about it. Previous owner describes the exact same face to him, without assistant manager telling him what happened to coworker. Assistant manager tells us. Manager is unfazed but I'm spooked and so is coworker. Coworker refuses to be alone in that room anymore, ever again. She still works there though.
Spooky. I want to visit.
You'd probably be disappointed if you did. Like I said in the stories, some of my coworkers have worked there for multiple years before seeing anything or having anything happen to them. I, myself, have been there for 2 years, and the stories I'm telling you guys are a collection over a 2-year span. Most days are normal, and most of my daily work stories are just normal work stress stories born from my unique role as not quite management but also not wholly just a regular employee either. But that unique role puts me in the front row to all this crazy shit. And like I said, me and manager are tight, and he tells me stories all the time, too. I still have more in my cache. Some from me, some from him.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.